Hi everyone, welcome to Learning by Doing with Praveen Kandan. This is Praveen. In this Java object-oriented programming playlist, we will learn OOPS concepts from the scratch. This is Java OOPS programming session number 15, Access Modifiers Introduction. If you are confident about learning, then like the video, subscribe the channel for more updates. Please click the bell icon and select all notifications option. Don't choose personalized option. You may miss some session updates. Let's get started. So first we'll discuss about what's my modifiers in Java programming. Afterwards we'll discuss the classification of modifiers. So modifiers are keywords. So keywords means reserved word. Keywords means reserved word. Already it is defined. You can't able to modify it. So modifiers are keywords used to define the access, behavior, and scope of a class, method, or a variable. So no worries. I'll explain all the words one by one. What is by access, behavior, and scope. Okay. So now just try to understand what is that modifier. So modifiers are keywords used to define the access, behavior, and scope of your class, method, or your variable. Okay. So next, how to classify this modifier means it is classified into two types: access modifiers and non-access modifiers. So usually access modifiers take care of controlling the visibility. Take care of controlling the visibility. Non-access modifier usually define the behavior. We will discuss it one by one. So first, we'll discuss classification of modifiers. So modifiers are classified in two types. They are namely access modifiers and non-access modifiers. Access modifier means four access modifiers are available in Java programming: public, protected, default, and private. In C++, only three access modifiers, but in Java we having the default access modifiers. Non-access modifiers: final, static, abstract, synchronize. I'm not going to explain everything in a single video. In the forthcoming sessions, you will get the answer what is by public. So what's the accessibility level? All these things we'll discuss in a detailed manner in the forthcoming session. Okay, now just try to understand what is by modifiers and then classification of modifiers. So what are they? Next, we'll move on to the definition because I literally modifiers are keywords used to define the access, behavior, and scope. All words I'll explain it one by one. Okay. So modifiers are keywords. What does that mean? So keyword in the sense reserved word, fixed one. We can't able to change it. So example, why you are telling these modifiers are keywords means public, private, static, final, abstract. All these five words are keywords. You can't able to use as a variable or a class name, fixed one. So that's why you're telling modifier as a keywords. Modifiers are keywords, a special reserved word. Okay, next we'll discuss next point. What is that? Used to define what it is. What it define means modifiers defining set rules for. Okay, set rules for who can access, how it behaves, where it is visible. These three terms we will discuss now. Okay, these three set of rules are defined by modifiers: who can access, how it behaves, where it is visible. Next, who can access? I told you know. So we'll discuss from where I can access the class or method or variable. Example: what's the class name here? Bank account. So I'm giving the data member or a variable. What is that instance variable? Is balance. Okay, if I'm giving the private, only this bank account class holder can access this balance. That's the accessibility. Example, if I like to access the Wi-Fi means, so if I'm the authorized person or I know the password, only that person can access that Wi-Fi. Am I right? Same principle here. Bank account having the data member balance, so this is a private access modifier. So can't able to access outside this bank account class, only within this class you can able to access it. Generally what is by accessing? Utilizing, am I right? Are you using that? So only this bank account class can access it. Outside this class no one can access it. Okay, it's there is no accessibility level for, what is it, there is no accessibility for outside members. That is what we are clearly mentioned. Can't access outside bank account class. Got it? So if I'm creating the object and then accessing by the bank account reference variable, what is it? Object reference variable b dot balance means it will throw an error because it's accessed only within the class. If I'm accessing it outside, it will throw an error. So access modifiers controls visibility. Who can watch? Example: if I'm taking the WhatsApp status, so I can change the settings. Only these particular friends can view my status. Others members won't see. Okay, so we'll give the message, that is we'll give the settings like only this 50 contacts can see my status, others should not watch it. So I will make it as a private. Am I right? Same principle here. So method access, we discussed about the variable access. Method access, if I'm giving the what's the class name? Calculator. I'm having the method public void add. This is the behavior of this class method. So action is what is an add. So if I'm giving it as public, anyone can access, anyone call this method. But before what I'm provided, private access method. Only this bank account class can access it. But public means like a open Wi-Fi, anyone can access. That is what you are clearly mentioning. For example, method access, I'm giving the public access modifier. So anyone can call this method. That is about visibility control. Okay. That is about access equal to visibility control. You can access and then to whom it is visible. That is the important thing. If I know your password only, mobile password only, I can pin number or pattern only, I can able to access your mobile phone. Next, how to set that only these members WhatsApp status can see. So I can say that is about visibility. Who can view that? Okay. Next, third one we have discussed access. Fourth one, what is that? As per the definition, behavior. Behavior in the sense action. What you are going to do, how it acts, the class or method variable. So this control by non-access modifiers, that is abstract, final, static, synchronous. These things we have discussed. Okay, while discussing the classification of non-access modifier. See here, abstract is a non-access modifier. Okay, so I'm giving abstract class vehicle, abstract void move. So what it means, abstract means here no body. Okay, there is no implementation for a move, only declaration is available. So subclass must implement it. Future we will discuss about inheritance concept. Now just try to understand here there is no method body. The subclass, this is the parent class, so child class should access it. Okay, child class should implement it. This changes the behavior of the method. That is what you are telling behavior. So back to the definition, check it out. What we provided used to define the access. We have discussed behavior, what it can do. That is about behavior. By the help of this modifiers, either access modifier, non-access modifier, who can access. So access means automatically coming into the access modifiers category. Behavior in the sense non-access modifiers, because you are giving that access, these people can access it. Next, what they can perform, that is decided by this non-access modifier. It is decided by this non-access modifiers. Yeah. So that non-access modifier, one example I provided you. Okay. This changes the behavior of the method. So variable behavior, if I'm giving final int x equal 10, word itself we are having the meaning final means that is the final thing. We can't modify hereafter. Constant one. So final int x equal 10 means hereafter you can't change it. Okay, that is about the final changes behavior. I think now it's matching with the definition. Access coming under the access modifiers, behave in the sense what it is going to act. Already provided told you know. So how it acts, how it acts. So here you can't change it. Final if I'm giving. So if I'm giving the abstract, you are going to implement. Okay, you are going to give this definition in some other subclass, child class. Okay, next scope. We already know about the meaning of general meaning of scope. How long it will exist, how long it is valid. If I'm buying any one biscuit or snacks, there will be some expired date. Am I right? How long it will valid? Am I right? Same thing here. Scope, where it exists or where it is valid, in which area of the program is this available. So here having the variable scope. So one is instance variable, another one is what is that? Static variable. Okay, so how you are identifying this as an instance variable? Yes, declared above all the method or outside the methods. So int a is the instance variable, static is the static variable because you're using the keyword static, so automatically called as a static variable. Prerequisite, please watch the types of variables recording sessions. Okay, we already discussed in our previous sessions what is that types of variable: local, instance, and static. After that, watch this session. Okay, next, a equal 10. What is that instance scope means? We already discussed instance variables means for each and every object. Okay, how many objects you are creating for each and every object, you will get a separate memory for this a. Each and every time you will get a memory. Five objects I'm creating means five times this a value. What is it, a variable, you will get a memory. Okay, a variable get five times memory. But static, what is that? Because instance variable belong to class. Okay, so a exists per object, I will tell you. But b, what is that variable? Static. Static means only one time memory will be allocated. That is first time. Okay, it belongs to the class. So for entire class, it will allocate only one time memory. So next time it will retain its values. Okay, we already discussed in a detailed manner. Please watch the static variable sessions. Okay. So next, statics, what I'm telling, here statics affect scope, not access. So I will tell you in a detailed manner. I'm having the backup of this concept. Here static affects scope, not access. What is that means? What access means? Usually access will come under the access modifiers. Am I right? Which who is allowed to use a variable or method. So it will come under the four category: public, private, protected, default. So your private, if you're giving, so private is a access modifier, public means access modifier, but static is not a access modifier. I'm right, it is a non-access modifier. Here static does not decide the, okay, here static does not decide whether it is a public or private, because it is a separate topic. I'm right, separate concept, private, public, who can access. So visible outside the class or not, that is decided by the public or private. But scope means, what is that means? Okay, access is not coming at the static. But scope, what is that? Scope means where the variable exists and how long it lives. Okay, how long it will live. Okay, how long it will present. So here I'll tell you how static affects scope, not access. Access we already discussed. There is no relationship between the non-access modifier static and then access. But what about scope? Yes, static affects scope. Example, instance variable I'm giving a equal 10 exists per object. I'll tell you five objects you are creating per object. One time memory will be allocated. So five times a will get a memory for object. Okay, so what's the scope? When the object is created at the time, A will present. When object is destroyed, A allocated memory instance variable will be destroyed, deallocated. So each object get its own copy. Here example T1 to T2. So T1 dot A means at the time one time memory will be allocated. Next time T2 I'm creating means, okay, T2 object created means at the time one time a will be allocated. So both are maintaining separate value, separate memory. So two times this a is allocated. That is what I'll clearly mention exists per object. T1 one time this object is present a. Next a will present for T2. Scope object level. Okay, scope object level. But static variable, what is that? Static int b equal 20 means it will exist once per class. You can create a number of objects, but only per class one time memory will be allocated. Created when this variable that is memory will be allocated means class is loaded. When the program ends, the static variable memory allocation also deallocated, erased. So it is shared by all the objects. In our previous session, we already explained this. It will be shared by all the objects. Example, so 100 plus gross citizens are there. All we are coming to the category, the country. What is that? India. Same thing. You can create a number of objects. These all objects T1, T2 have the same memory. What is it? B. Okay, so you'll allocate only one time memory that will be shared for T1 and T2. So the 20 will be shared to T1 and T2. So if I'm modifying T1 dot B equal to 100, okay, so already the value is 20. If I'm modifying static, where it is, yeah, here I'm changing, yes. Static int b equal 20. I'm changing now T1 dot b equal to 100 means if I'm printing T2 dot b, T2 dot b also changed 100. Reason because once per class it is created, it will be shared by all the objects. It's shared by all the objects. That is why T1, if I'm modifying, T2 also changed because it's sharing the memory. Okay, So one time memory is allocated, so that will be shared among all the objects. So T1, T2, all objects will get the same value. Are you clear? So static controls who can access the variable means completely it's wrong. Static can't able to control the access the variable because that is coming under the access modifiers. Then what's the job of public private protected means access level? Okay. So you should clear with this. It is completely wrong. Non-access modifiers not having the access rights. Okay. Correct thing is, so static controls how many copies exist. That is what important thing. One copy shared among all the objects. How long the variable lives. Okay. How long the variable lives. So that will be decided. Okay. Non-static means separate copies. Object scope. Static means class level scope. It changes scope, lifetime plus availability. This is the right one. Okay. It changes the scope. Okay, it changes the scope, lifetime plus availability, because how long this means class level it will be affected. Okay, so at class till the class end, okay, this static variable will get a memory. Okay, it will be available. That is what the lifetime plus available. Okay, it does not change access for it. It is not having the access rights. Okay, public or private level within the class or within the package, it is not having that much of access level. Only it having the scope, lifetime, how long it will present. So till the class end, it will present. So till that class end, it will be available. Okay, one line definition or means static decides whether a variable belongs to the class or to each object. This is what deciding. Okay. Next, access is decided by access modifiers, not by static. Okay, static decides whether a variable belongs to the class or to each object. Okay, each object will get the same memory or not. That is what deciding. Okay, till the class it should present. That's it. It is not decided by the modifiers or not by static. So remaining we'll discuss in the forthcoming session. Okay, then only you can able to easily understand. If you found the session useful, then like the video, subscribe the channel for more update, and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching.